Hey, how's it going, guys? Chakanera here with you today, starting a brand new campaign as we are once again continuing our Civilization 6 A to Z challenge. I have once again returned from a long hiatus, taking my usual year-long break that I have been doing. A little unfortunate, as back when I started the series, I did plan to get through this a little quickly, but as it turns out, life gets in the way sometimes. But rest assured, I am back. I am still going to continue to play this game that I oh so still dearly love, regardless of all that has happened over the last year since I've been gone. Yeah, in normal fashion for me, I take a year break and the world of Civilization evolves once again, with probably the biggest change in this kind of world to happen since my departure yet. As over the last year, some news has emerged, actually relatively recently to when I am releasing this video. So we'll talk about that in a sec, but first I'll talk about kind of the plan. And that plan is I'm going to play a game as Basil, who is the next leader in our list, in our very, very long list of leaders. I'm trying to remember, I think the full list was already done last year when we played Vietnam. I do believe so. Yeah, last year we were talking about how they were releasing leaders for the New Frontier Pass? Yes, right? No. I don't remember names of things anymore. No. They were releasing a bunch of different leaders. I remember talking about that. We definitely talked about it because, I mean, we played one of them. We played Abraham Lincoln for a science game. So, yeah, the full list of leaders is not changed at all. We're continuing down alphabetically. Up next is Basil. Looking at some of the future ones to come, some exciting ones. I mean, we got some double leaders, like France here, Egypt here, which I will decide how to handle. I don't think I want to do 2 consecutive games of the same empire ever. I think I'll want to change it up a bit. So maybe like when it comes time to do this, I'll do like France and then Chandragupta and then like Egypt and then back to France and then like back to Egypt or something like that. But that's not the point of the video. The subject of today's video is Basil. Basil leading the Byzantines, Byzantium, the Byzantine Empire, a very historical civilization, and confession, a civilization that I have yet to play. Unlike all the previous leaders, well, actually, I guess at the time I played Ambiorix, I also did not really play him either. So this is going to be kind of similar to our Ambiorix video, where prior to this game, I have not really gotten around to playing Basil. I think it's kind of been to do with the fact that I knew I was going to play him. And so to avoid, like, to give myself kind of like a new, fresh experience, I just didn't really touch him, knowing that I will get a full, enjoyable game from him in the future. So yeah, this is going to be kind of similar to Ambiorix, where I'm going to be going through this game, learning about just what it is Basil II does, with you guys, as well as giving you and showing you, like, giving you tips and showing you how I'm liking playing him. And I did read over his abilities for quite a while here, kind of strategizing how I want to play this game. But before we go over that, and before we actually start a game, I do want to say what the big update has been since the last time that we played. Well, the good news is that Civilization 6 will not be receiving any more updates. So thankfully, the next time you'll see me after our Basil series, there won't really be a change to the game. And I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's actually been a change to the game since my Vietnam video. I think everything's been final. Over the last year, there's just been a lot of scenarios that they've done for fun. But very recently, at the time of recording this, I believe about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago or something, it was announced that the release of Sid Meier's Civilization 7 is on the way. And that will actually be released from time of recording right now, in about like 6 or 5 months. So what does that mean for me? Well, good news for the few of you that are still watching these. I'm not going anywhere. I do plan, well, okay, I'm not going anywhere in terms of I'm going to stop doing this. What I mean is, not in the sense of like I'm not going anywhere, because I actually am going somewhere. I'm once again, after this series, going to be on a hiatus, unless I figure out how to record these things not from the comforts of my home. But by not going anywhere, I mean that I will still be playing Civilization 6. Should it be another year break, so be it. I will come back. I will continue to play this, because I do really want to continue getting through all these leaders. It might seem like an impossible task that will take me years and years, by the time which maybe Civilization 10 will be released, but I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't particularly care. I'm all excited and everything for Civilization 7, but from the looks of it, it does look to be a game that is rather different play-wise than Civ 6, and I'm pretty happy about that, because that means that it's not going to be really a better version so much as it's going to be a different game. The Civ developers will take a new take on the series, and I'm very happy about that, because that means I can try out Civ 7 in the future, but I can still play Civ 6 to full content, because it is a different game than Civ 7 is. So yeah, rest assured I will be continuing the series whenever I have the time to do so, such as right now, and I will not be abandoning my challenges to go pursue Civ 7. I'm personally a lot more interested in this, and I enjoy this a lot more. Okay, let's continue on to the next stage of our normal introductory yapping session that we do for every one of these new campaigns. So we're playing Basil, and as we've discussed previously in the last few series, basically the first few leaders we're playing, we're trying to get every victory type available to us for the first time. So after Basil, I mean, I'm going to probably rotate to my heart's content for what victory type I do with any leader. But at this point, what we've done is, our first game is Alexander. We did a domination victory. I had a very fun time doing a total domination victory where we conquered the entire world. Not a single scratch of the map was not left under our possession. Then we did a score victory, and as I've admitted before, completely honest, I will probably never do a score victory ever again. It is very lame. I did it once to get it on the Hall of Fame, and that's about it. Now, Nubia is a civ that has changed from the time I played them and did the score victory, but not significantly enough where I have to go back and do it again. And thankfully, I never released a review video about them, so the information isn't really outdated. In regards to the review videos, I mean, as I'll say before, like every series I've started, I do still want to make those, but again, it's just a lot more work than the average Civ video that I'm making here. But we'll see. But regardless, we did play Nubia. Granted, a little different, but was pretty, I mean, as enjoyable as a score victory can be. We had an Bjork's game that went completely not in the direction we wanted it to. We were hoping to play a game where we could make an army and go around conquering a bunch of free cities that fell under the Dramatic Ages mode, but we ended up getting a crap ton of land, even with an increased amount of players. And we got a diplomatic victory. Not the ideal victory type as Ambiorix, but I decided doing it because I wanted to use his production to boost both my science and my culture, which you need both for a diplomatic victory. The diplomatic victory is also a victory type I'm not going to try to do too often, at least not as much as other victory types. But overall, it was still a pretty fun game. Then we did Abraham Lincoln, because he released after we had already started doing this. Did a science victory as him, and this ended up being a really fun game as Abraham Lincoln. We printed out a lot of melee units with our industrial zone. And actually, a similar strategy does apply to our Basil game that we're about to do, but I'll talk about that a little later. Yeah, the Abe Lincoln game was honestly pretty fun. Started kind of challenging, but later getting all the science was an enjoyable experience. We faced quite a few challenges in that. I know that there were quite a few things we wanted that didn't happen correctly, but regardless, very fun game. Very, very enjoyable time. And then we move on to Basil II, our most recent one. Did it last year, and if you go back and watch those videos, you may notice that nothing goes to plan in our game at all. We did a culture victory, probably the victory type you'll see me do most often on this channel, other than perhaps science. Yeah, I just would. That was a rough game for us. Any plan that I made did not really go in the direction I wanted it to. I think like quite a few of her abilities we kind of just ended up misusing. Like I don't think the power of the Voice Shan ever really got demonstrated in our Vietnam campaign. The Thon, while it was like nice, also I don't think we fully exploited it as much as we could have. Yeah, it is a shame because of all the empires all the civilizations we played up till now. Basil was the one I was most excited to play, and while again I would still have her as probably the most fun civ that we played so far, that game was definitely the roughest game we've had to date. It actually remains our lowest scoring victory. Like if I go check the score that I have for each game, this game ended up being the lowest score we've got. We were just stuck in endless wars against our neighbors that didn't go anywhere. Funny enough, one of our neighbors was Basil himself, so we're gonna get to experience what he did to us and do it to others. And yeah, but I think it was a good demonstration that not everything is gonna go our way that we want to. If this game was super easy, what would be the point of playing it all the time? You want to face the challenges and see if you can overcome them. And so with all that said, basically, we've done one of each victory type except for one, and that one is the religious victory type, which we are going to pursue here as Basil. And I'll explain exactly how we're going to do that when we get into the game. I do want to get into the game sooner rather than later, for as much as I love to yap. So yeah, we're going to do religious victory as Basil. No really kind of unique challenges we're giving ourselves. I think that the main thing is just to go for the religious victory. What I will say though is that this is going to be a religious victory with a heavy lean towards military. Basil's a very strong militaristic civ, and I will break that down a little once we load up the map. Excuse me. But yeah, very militaristic and uses a lot of religious powers for his military. And domination, like militaristic games, often do pair pretty well with religion, just because it becomes a lot easier to get a religious victory with some military power. So we will be doing a religious victory, but if I'm going to be honest, it might at times look like we're doing domination. Okay, I am going to explain Basil more once we load. Let's explain the game we're setting up for ourselves here. So it's a standard map. 8 players. I'm not adding anybody. I'm not taking anyone away. Although I will say, if there's somebody that I would have considered doing a bigger map with, it might have been a Basil, just because he has an ability that gives him increased combat strength with more players. And now that I kind of talk about it, I think we're gonna do a large map. This will put 6 religions instead of 5. You know what? Because I don't think there's going to be too many instances where I do one of these bigger maps, so we're going to load up a large map. Let's do it. Let's load up a large map. 6 religions, and I'll explain why I want that later. So we're going to play on Fractal. This is a map we have not played yet. I'm trying for the most part to switch up the maps to ones we haven't experienced yet. And I decided Fractal will be good for this. Basil's actually pretty good for 7 Seas, just because he does have a unique naval unit, but there's actually a second Byzantium Empire that also has that unit, and I think I'm going to shed the spotlight on that unit more when we play the other Byzantine leader. His land military might is pretty damn strong, and that's going to be the main focus. A Fractal map can kind of give us a decent balance of both land stuff and of water stuff. So we do want some water, but the main focus is going to be around our land army. So we're going to do Fractal, a large map, and then everything else is actually just standard. I'm not changing anything else. We don't need more trees. We don't need more tundra or desert. We don't need any New World Age. And, of course, difficulties Emperor. And then the game modes, it's back. The only Dramatic Ages mode. I thought about it for quite a while whether I wanted to bring the Dramatic Ages mode back for this game. And in the end, I decided that I do, because just like Ambiorix Basil was released with the release of the Dramatic Ages mode, but if I'm being completely honest, this might be the last time I use Dramatic Ages mode for quite some time. As I mentioned in the past, I'm not like a huge fan of this game mode. I just think for what we want to do and try out, it's not like a bad idea. It works out pretty well with Basil. And then I think this is the first time we're using the Heroes and Legends mode. And why am I turning on the Heroes and Legends mode? Well, the Heroes and Legends mode, if you don't know for some reason, I mean, this mode has been out for, I think, like 2 years now. It introduces 12 powerful hero units. These are historically often fabled heroes throughout civilization and history. So you'll get like Hercules from like the Greek legends. You'll get Himiko from like Japanese legends. You'll get I'm trying to say stuff and their origin without embarrassing myself. You'll get Arthur from like English origins. Okay, so all these kind of heroes over history and time. You get Maui from like Polynesian stories. So you like powerful heroes throughout history, and they all have their own unique abilities. A lot of them are a lot more like their abilities relate to combat and military. So they're very often a lot more convenient in domination games where you actually can recruit a handful of them. But there are a few who are very good economically, and ones that I love to recruit like almost all the time. But playing it in a game where we do pretty heavy domination stuff does open the door for me to recruit a lot more options. Like whoever I get, I will be more open to recruiting them than before. And yeah, so basically it just introduces 12 unique powerful units that you can recruit in a building that you have a monument. And it is something that to recruit them, it does help to have faith. So having a religious game will make it pretty convenient to use them more than once. So yeah, I thought we'd try it out this run around, and then yeah, Dramatic Ages mode, and that's about it. Everything else is going to be off for this run. And I think I just want to click start game. I think everything else is in order. Let's get into this game so I can finally break down where we are, what I'm doing, and what is up. And then, of course, it usually takes a bit of time for my computer to load up here. I'm going to talk for a bit before it comes up, but once Sean Bean comes up, I'm going to let him take it away. And then we're going to talk about what it is we're doing. How are we going to get that religious victory? The last victory type that we have yet to achieve. Yeah. I have a lot to say, but I'm kind of waiting to say it after Sean Bean speaks. So, excuse the bit of silence right now. Come on, Sean. Just talk to me, bud.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars.
Your enemies will fear you, King Basil II, for you were forged in the fire. Let your cunning and ambition sharpen your blade. Protect your pride and stand against your foes, both within your walls and beyond.
Alright, I mentioned in the past, this is our third leader now from the Frontier Pass. Also, I realized something I said earlier in this video. I said that the new leaders are from Frontier Pass, but those new leaders are from the Leader Pass. That includes Abe Lincoln. Basil here, along with Batriu and Ambiorix, are leaders from the Frontier Pass. And yeah, I mentioned it before. All the Frontier Pass leaders and civs really have short text compared to some of the original ones. Mostly due to probably they didn't want to have Sean Bean do too much work. Like 6 or 7 years after he initially recorded everything. I mean, you can kind of hear it from when he first recorded to when he later recorded, the difference in his voice. Man needs a break. Man needs a rest. But anyway, so Basil. I'm going to read out his abilities more in depth when we load in. But yeah, as I said, this dude is like a hybrid of religious and domination. If you want to play a domination game with him, you are fully in the right to do so. This man is a military machine. And he actually has something similar to Abe Lincoln that we did, where he just prints out a unit for free. And I'll explain that when we load in here. I don't think I want to talk too much before I click begin game. All I will say is basically the strategy is that we have, we open up with very strong religion, so holy sites everywhere. Basil has some advantages to getting religion pretty well. Under Taxis, you'll see the last part. So we want to get a religion. We want to center it around combat, and then we're gonna want quite a bit of money. Although there is something to be said about not worrying about that too much, because some of our units do not require maintenance, and I will talk about it in a sec. So yeah, gonna start with religion. Gonna look to build some encampments so that we have a good build up for an army later, and we're gonna start conquering some people, guys. We're gonna conquer some people. All right, let's begin the game. And here is our start. Now, I am not going to analyze the start too much yet. What I am going to do is I'm going to open up Basil II over here of the Byzantine Empire, and we're going to break it down. Alrighty, first ability. This is the leader ability, so actually in this instance there is a second Byzantine leader, Theodora. She was released in the leader pass, and she actually does not have this unit here, the Tagma. As you can read as part of his leader ability. So, before I start reading, obligatory mention of me going to try and pronounce words that I don't know how to pronounce and failing miserably at doing. Apologies for any offense taken from this stubbornness. So, Porphyrogenitos, I think. Heavy and light cavalry units do full damage against cities following the same religion as Byzantium. So what does that mean, folks? Well, that means we want to convert cities before we attack. So this is going to play into a style where, so very often when you pair religion and domination together, there's kind of two routes you can take. You can either conquer and then convert, or convert and then conquer. Byzantium is very much so built around converting and then conquering. And so the way we're kind of going to approach this game is we're going to bother the crap out of a lot of the world by converting their cities without their permission. They're going to have grievances against us, and I hope they will declare war on us. They might declare an emergency war on us because we converted somebody's city. But that actually won't start a war. That will start a holy war. So that doesn't work. But anyway, we want to piss the world off. We want to convert their cities. And then when we go to war, we gain extra combat. Or rather, we do max damage, full damage with our heavy and light cavalry units. So this is going to be a cavalry heavy army. Both light and heavy, but mostly heavy. In the second part, gain the Tagma unique unit when the Divine Right Civic is discovered. If you don't know, Divine Right is actually boosted by having 6 cities converted, which we are going to very easily do, I hope. So we'll have that boosted and hopefully unlock Tagmas rather early. There's like no downside to unlocking them early. Yeah, this is just insanely powerful. This is what sets Basil apart from the other Byzantine leader. Who, I mean, to be fair, I haven't ever played her, but when I compare the two, I do think Basil does outshine her a little more, just because the Tagma is very powerful unit, and then on top, this entire ability is just based around the Tagma. Like, your heavy cavalry units do full damage. Okay, cool. There it is. There's the heavy cavalry unit. And yeah, you gain this unit, and then it pairs up with this Hippodrome really well, which I'll explain in a second. All right, taxes. Units receive +3 combat strength or religious strength for each holy city converted to Byzantium's religion, including Byzantium's holy city. Guys, we found a religion, all their units gain +3 combat strength. Just off the bat. Doesn't matter if we don't convert anybody else, our units now permanently have a +3 combat boost throughout the game. So definitely want to get that religion before we declare any war, because that'll just make combat a lot easier. I mean, religious strength too, so I guess we're going to try to engage in religious combat just as much, but I mean, this will mostly be a military combat strength. And that's also why we're going to try and convert a lot of the cities. Again, it will cause grievances, but like, who cares when we can just pound them to dust with our increased combat strength. So putting this game on a large map means that there's going to be 6 religions with 10 players. That means that maximum, if we convert every single holy city in the game, and if you don't know, a holy city is the city in which a religion was founded. So once we found a religion, that city in which we popped the Great Prophet, whether it be on Stonehenge or on a holy site, that is our holy city. And holy cities exert a lot more religious pressure, so they convert cities around them much stronger than other cities that are under that religion. So if we convert all 6 cities that are holy cities in this game, assuming that no Great Prophet gets left untouched, we will get, quick math is not my forte, +18 combat strength for all our units. So the bigger the map, the more religions, and the more religions, if you can convert all of them, you will get a higher ceiling for your combat strength bonus. As well, actually, this is as both Byzantiums, but it just plays a little bit better into Basil, in my opinion. Byzantium's religion is spread to nearby cities when defeating a unit belonging to an enemy civilization or city-state. So last year when we played Batriu, I was getting very upset at multiple things, but one of the things that was making me upset at the time was noticing that Basil's religion was being spread to my cities, and Jayavarman cities, who was another neighbor we had, kind of without effort, and I was like very puzzled as to what was doing that, just because I had never even looked at this guy in depth, because I mostly left him untouched so that I could play him for the first time on recording. And yeah, so we learned about this part, where if we kill a unit, we spread our religion for free, which we are going to want to do. And this is actually part of the reason I enabled Dramatic Ages, is because when Dramatic Ages comes in and there's free cities, we can go and beat up those units for free and spread our religion for free. Oh, actually, nope, that does not apply. So look at me being dumb. But that's okay. I still wanted the Dramatic Ages for the purpose of the game we were doing. Yeah, it only applies if you beat a unit belonging to an enemy civilization or city-state. I mean, maybe free city counts as an enemy civilization. We'll have to test that out. I definitely will test that out, I hope. I forget something sometimes. Alright, and then the last part. +1 Great Prophet points from cities with a holy site district. I mean, that's just a pretty sweet boost to make it easier for you to gain a religion as Byzantium. So if we build 2 holy sites without any shrine, we're just getting +2 Great Prophet points from each one of those, so +4 total. Normally, you would need to build a shrine in both those holy sites to gain the same amount of Great Prophet points, so makes it pretty easier to get the religion you want as Basil. Alright, which unit do I talk about first? Well, before I do, I think Taxis overall is like a pretty good ability. I think it plays into Basil very well, but it's not the main highlight of what I'm liking about what I'm seeing about Basil. The main thing is his leader ability paired with the unit Tagma and the district Hippodrome, which I'll discuss a bit more. But overall, Tax is very good. I mean, obviously, we're going to try and get the most out of this section, that being the +3 combat strength that we get. I guess we're kind of going to play quite around the idea of spreading a religion through combat. And then this part's just a cool little passive. Alright, the Tagma. So, Basil's unique medieval era unit that replaces the Knight. The Knight is a very powerful unit in this game. I talked in the past about other unique units we've experienced. And ranged units tend to be like a pretty strong alternate unit to have an alternative of. For example, the Patati Archer for Nubia and the Boy Shan for Vietnam are two pretty strong unique units. The Gisette is like okay, and then we had Ipaspists and Heterois, which were both pretty solid. So we've had pretty good unique units so far. And the train does not stop with the Tagma, my guys and girls, because this thing, well, first of all, paired with his ability of heavy cavalry units doing full damage against cities, this Tagma can just shred cities without any issue. On top of that, if you just bunch a bunch of units around a Tagma, so you just get like 5 Tagmas all clinging together, well, they gain +4 combat strength if they're within 1 tile of the Tagma. So if you bring a flock of Tagmas to attack a city, sorry if that was a little loud, yeah, +4 combat strength to each one of those. It doesn't stack, I believe, just based on the way it's worded, so it's not like if you surround a unit with 4 Tagmas, it'll get +12. It's just once. If you're next to a Tagma, you would get +4. I mean, which is still pretty damn strong, especially when you compare it up with the stacking +3 ability from Taxus. So yeah, I think the Tagma is very strong. I don't quite know yet if I think it's stronger than the Patati Archer or Voshen, but it is definitely pretty good. And this is where the train ends, because I think we have our first, not dud in a unique unit, but this unique unit just like does not really pertain to what we're going to do this game. I will try using it. That's why I did a fractal map. Hopefully there will be like at least some water we can try this out on. But yeah, this is just, I'll probably try using this unit a lot more heavily in a Theodora game, but if you know your ABCs, you know that Theodora is not coming anytime soon. But anyway, the Dromon replaces the Quadraim and has an additional range and receives +10 combat strength against units. So listen, if you're playing on a naval map, a map with a lot of water, and you get this unit out, it's pretty good. Like, one of the biggest flaws of the Quadraim and why I don't really like it as a unit is that its range is 1, meaning you have to be next to the tile to shoot what you want to shoot. The Dromon does not have to. It has +2 range, which means it can shoot just like a frigate, just like a I was gonna say what comes after the frigate, but I realized it's a battleship which has +3, so scratch that. But yeah, basically it's kind of like a weaker frigate, which is pretty good. I mean, on top of that, just general +10 combat strength, so this is literally just a powerful Quadraim. So I don't think this unit is bad. I think the only reason I'm talking about this unit not being that good is because it is a Quadraim replacement, and the Quadraim is just not really good. Naval combat in this game is like very hit or miss. It can either absolutely dominate or just be completely useless. If you're playing on naval maps, this thing is very powerful. This thing is like up there in the S tier, I would say. But if you're playing like a normal map, if you're just doing some random map that you don't know how much water is going to appear, you kind of have to force yourself to play around this, just because a bunch of cities might not even be on the water, so there's not much point in it. And then, yeah, Quadraims are a little inconvenient to build, if I'm being honest. I mean, this one definitely encourages you to go for them, but it just in general, like, I'm not the biggest Quadraim fan. But we'll definitely look into using this. I think this is a pretty powerful unit. Will definitely help us if there's any coastal warfare we can do early on. But I mean, the other thing is we're not really going to be playing for super early combat. We're going to be playing for a little bit later. And the Quadraim comes a little too early, just like a technology or two too early. So yeah, I would say of the overall kit, this is probably the weakest part of it, but it's still very good depending on the situation. And then we got the Hippodrome. So this replaces the entertainment complex, which as far as district replacements goes is one of the weakest things. But this thing is anything but weak, my friends. It provides +3 amenities. Cool. I don't know if that's actually a base thing. I think that might just be a base thing, if I'm being honest. I need to read the entertainment complex, but provides +3 amenities. It's also cheaper to build, as every single district in this game is. And this is the part that's just going to make us a horse printing machine. When the Hippodrome and buildings in this district are constructed, receive a heavy cavalry unit. Units granted from this district do not have a resource maintenance cost, and then it cannot be built in a city with a water park. But why on earth would we build a water park, if I'm being serious? So this works pretty much the exact same as it works for Abraham Lincoln, where you build an industrial zone, and any building in the industrial zone you build, you get a free melee unit. Here, we get a free heavy cavalry unit. The cool upside, though, is that this district, the Hippodrome, is cheaper. So it is a unique district, making it half the cost of a usual district. So it'll be a lot easier to just build this thing. The buildings can come a little later. So what I think this offers us is kind of, as opposed to Abe, where I think we kind of pushed our melee printing era, if you will, all at the same time. With Byzantium, we're kind of gonna have different eras where we print quite a few heavy cavalry units. I think the first rush we're gonna aim to do is going to be focused around tagmas. We're just going to have a bunch of cities build their hippodromes to print out a bunch of tagmas. And I think later in the game, we're going to unlock... we're going to have arenas off the bat, so we're going to want to build arenas. But later on, we're going to unlock like zoos and aquatic centers. Aquatic centers are water park. What am I talking about? Zoos and stadiums. Those come quite later in the game. I think we're going to use that to push for another heavy cavalry printing spree at that time. So all those hippodromes that we have set up from earlier in the game, we're going to use that to later in the game print out a bunch more heavy cavalry units, which will most likely be tanks. Overall, I think this sounds like a fun civ. Again, I haven't given too much thought to Basil and the Byzantine Empire. Just because I wanted to save for the video, but reading over it right before I started recording, I got pretty excited. So yeah, I'm excited to play this game, guys. Let's get in the game. That's a lot of yapping. How many minutes of yapping? 37 minutes of yapping. On the way to 38. So we're not going to do too much this episode, unfortunately, just because I want to break things down, you know? But we are going to settle, and let's talk about where exactly we're going to settle. This location is pretty mid, and I could settle in place, but the main issue is that a lot of these tiles around us, you'll look, only have a combined yield of 2. So 2 food, 1 food, 1 production, 1 food, 1 production, 1 food, 1 production. So taking away one of the tiles that offers us any extra yield, this one's a 3 yield tile. I don't really want to do that. I do think I'm going to cross the river and settle either on this 2 food tile or on this 1 and 1 tile. The question is, do I prefer the 2-2 stone or do I prefer the 3 food rice? And the answer is probably the 2-2 stone. I want to work that 2-2 tile off the bat. That'd be a pretty good idea. I'm going to move the warrior before I do that. Okay, this is a lake. I mean, it's not ideal. There's something to be said for Huey Teocalli. That's a pretty high amenity, Huey Teocalli. If you don't know, that wonder gains extra amenities from being surrounded by lake tiles. And I think we're going to want to play a pretty high amenity game, just because our unique district is the Hippodrome. It's an entertainment complex replacement, so we're gonna want to probably play around amenities quite a bit. Try and keep our cities relatively happy. Okay, but what's the kind of play that we're gonna do here? So I move across the river. We're gonna turn to settle. I see a cliff here, which means there's a coast, which is not bad for us because again, we do want some level of coast to be able to use our naval unit. Gonna look on the hill, and we're going to settle Constantinople. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. As I'm keeping my tradition of not using the standard colors of any civ, we switched to the red and yellow of Rome. Not like the actual Rome in the game, but like historical Rome kind of use these colors. Because we're going to restore the true Roman Empire, guys. As we all know, Byzantium is the true successor to the Roman Empire. Anyway, it literally is, but who cares? So we are working the 2-2 tile. Yup. Scout seems good to me. We do want to find a natural wonder rather fast, and we do want to plot where I want to put the holy site. We don't have crazy holy site locations here, but if I'm being honest, we don't really care for crazy holy site locations. Ideally, I'd put it on this marsh tile, but I'm not waiting to remove that marsh. We want to put this holy site down soon. I think it's honestly going here. We'll get +1. We'll get 2 woods. We can build Mahabodhi Temple, which is a wonder I tend to like to build in this stuff. We're going to want... Oh, there's another stone here. The reason I say there's another stone here is because I'm actually looking at building like an aqueduct here. And then like an industrial zone. We're gonna want a government plaza, but it's not the most urgent thing in the world, just because we're gonna build the warlord's throne, not the ancestral hall. So I'm not in a rush to get that out so we can get free builders galore. We will want a campus and a commercial hub, and we will want an encampment. So I'm thinking campus. Much later, not anytime soon. Commercial hub and encampment. And this leaves us a door to build one of like the 3 or 4, I believe. I think it's just 3. Encampment wonders. Like Terracotta Army or Stadio Zeus or Alhambra. All 3 would be rather good. Here we can build some holy site. Holy site wonders. I think this will be good. This is what, 5 districts, so this is like after 1, 4, 7, 10, 13 population, so not bad. And then it leaves all the bonus resources alive. I am going to end the episode here soon. I know it's literally turn 2, but as you all know by now, the first episode is dedicated to professional yapping. I'm actually going to go for animal husbandry first. We don't have to rush the holy site just because we do get bonuses to recruiting a great prophet, but I will probably go for astrology next. I want to reveal the horses. We might actually have horses, and I mean, as a cavalry heavy civ, we're gonna want horses. I think we're gonna get the scout out, and then we're gonna call it an episode. So let's get through these 5 turns fast. Venice is right next to us, and they want a Eureka for Masonry. I sense an early alliance with their good friends Venice. Because they can give pretty good gold bonuses from our trade routes. And we are going to want to have a pretty good gold economy. Oh, they have spices. I love spices. It's my favorite luxury resource. So... pretty good map for us to suzerain Venice soon. There's more spices here. So yeah, step 1 is basically to build holy site. I will want, I think, like 3 cities here pretty early, all to set up holy sites so we can set up a religion pretty fast. And then we're going to build up encampments and commercial hubs so that we can have the economy to maintain. Now, okay, something I wasn't super clear on with Basil here. Units granted from this district do not have a resource resource maintenance, so we still have to pay for them with money. They do have a gold maintenance cost, but resource maintenance is good. That means we don't have to find iron or horses, whatever the... I guess actually no heavy cavalry unit needs horses, which is kind of funny. But whatever resource a heavy cavalry unit would need, we don't need to have it to get it from the hippodrome, and then it can still heal even without that resource, I believe. I hope I'm not wrong about those words. Alright, and there's a scout. And with that, my friends, unfortunately, we're ending the first episode, only turn 8's in. Again, if you're new to the channel, yeah, welcome to the first episode of a new campaign where I just yap for like 40 minutes straight. So we have a pretty simple map so far. I'm kind of excited to suzerain Venice pretty early on here. And I'm excited for the layout we got established here. I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm excited to play this game. I hope you guys are excited to watch this game too. Yeah, a lot on my mind, and I don't really know when to end it appropriately because I just want to keep talking to y'all. So if I don't know when to end it, I'm just going to start ending it now. So I'll say thank you very much for watching. If you guys like what you see, go ahead and like the video, and if you want to see more, if you want to stick around for this fun campaign we got on our hands, our first religious game, then go ahead and subscribe. Until the next episode, though, guys, I will see ya.